Welcome to Black Tower Tales Series 2, Scene 24. Uh, I'm Body. I'll be your player dungeon master today. Currently, we're following Wiggins Shadow Cloak, who last scene had just really last scene he wasn't really conscious or taking any action. We were finding just about the context of the town that he's in and what happened as he was being taken to town while he was unconscious. Currently, chaos level is 7, and I think probably my expected scene that we're going to resolve here in the next couple moments is him waking up and finding out that Nyx is, who is currently posted up on the wall here, is dead. I have some ideas as to where I think he's likely to go. Remember, he is a wizard. He's a little gnome wizard. Um, I have some ideas as to where I think he's probably going to react and move, but I want to use the fate chart and the Mythic GM emulator, maybe even the NPC motivation tabs to see if we can have something come from that. But for now, getting into it, we need to test the expected scene versus the chaos level. So we're looking to see if we get a 7 or less. We got a 5. So because of a 5, we actually get an altered scene. So that's interesting. Okay, so how my expected scene was Wiggins waking up and finding out about Nyx being dead. Um, how can we alter that? The first thing that comes to mind for me is like, what if he has amnesia? Like he wakes up and just for whatever reason, because he had blood loss because something like that. I think that's gonna throw a big wrench in the direction that I thought it was gonna go. But that's the first thing that comes to mind that we're gonna alter the scene. That's such a big change, so I don't want to just say that. Oh yeah, he's got amnesia. I think I want to test this with the fate chart, and if not, we'll see what we can do to generate some other sort of alteration. I think it's still a 50-50. So that's with Chaos 7 is going to be a 75% chance of, yeah, he's just got amnesia. We can maybe try to figure out a way to justify it within the game, but at this point we probably he's not going to know why he has amnesia, right? And the family's not going to. Oops. With a 51, yeah, so that's 51. The altered scene is that Wiggins wakes up with amnesia. And this doesn't have to be a permanent thing. He could get his memory back in little bits and pieces coming out. But I think, yeah, so Wiggins doesn't remember. I think Wiggins doesn't even remember Nyx. He doesn't remember, like, the last couple years of his life. I think he probably remembers his dad, even though and is able to recognize him being there. But I think he just, yeah, the last, let's do a d6. The last 4 years of his life are just sort of gone. I don't remember how old he actually is. So we'll just say, like, basically his entire adult life is missing from his memory. He's been training, I think, as a oh wait, no, he's in his late 20s. He's like 28 or something. So it's not his entire adult life, but we can just say maybe it's ever since he got out of the military or something like that. And this is it's a rough estimate. We don't know necessarily exactly how far back it goes until we test it directly. But yeah, so basically he has amnesia. He doesn't remember Nyx or marrying her at all. He obviously doesn't remember this Alma lady, but he remembers his father, and he's going to be able to get use out of the stiletto wand that is now returned to him. Oh, so that's interesting. Okay. So Wiggins wakes up, and I think his father's going to be by his bedside, of course. I think Alma is. I think it's 50-50. We don't know. Maybe she's there. 86. So yeah, she's not there. The question I had in my head was, is Alma there as well when Wiggins wakes up? And that's a no. Um, so I think Wiggins wakes up. His father's there. His dad sort of comes to his side and is just like, "Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad you're okay. What? How are you? How are you feeling?" And Wiggins is just like, "Oh, I'm feeling. How is he feeling? It's been a couple days. Is he healed to full? I think he's basically healed to full at this point. He might have a couple lagging exhaustion effects or something like that. But at this point, I think he's basically functional. Um, but the thing that comes out is like he's just like, but where am I? Who's you? Why? How come you look so old? Essentially to his dad. Maybe not communicated in such a direct, harsh way, but um, you're older than I remember. When would I last? Like, when did I? How long has it been? Um, and this confuses Jasper, which is the name of his dad. Let me make sure I write down these names. Jasper, and he's just like, "What? That I saw you just less than a week ago at your wedding." And Wiggins is like, "Huh? What are you talking about?" And I think, actually, he even would look down at this point and see the ring on his hand and just be like, "What?" He racks his memory, and I think we're gonna give him a chance to remember stuff. Um, I think actually this is an interesting thing we could do with Index Card RPG, where they have this. You basically put an effort towards these towards a goal, and once you get to the heart um, level of completion, it's the same sort of system that you use for hit points in a fight, but you can use it for accomplishing different goals. So I think this is something. How many hearts should his? So basically, my idea is I think he can have this goal of remembering things about his past that he can put in effort and wisdom and maybe even get people to cast spells on him or something like that in order to try to remember his past. But it's going to be something where he has to expend effort in order to do that. So I think he's going to have, let's just say it's 4 years, I think. Let's just do let's do a D8 to see how many hearts of effort are he's going to need in order to be fully restored to his old memory. So it's a 5-heart challenge to restore his memory. Let me make a note of that somewhere here. Memory effort, 5 hearts. So he currently has none, but he's waking up. He's going to get the opportunity as he's like, oh man, I was married. I don't remember anything. The last thing I remember was a couple years ago, probably back when he was at some sort of training event for his military before he got out. And yeah, it's going to be wisdom. I think it's going to be a DC 12, and he makes it with a 14. He doesn't have any sort of weapon in order to help him with this, so it's just a basic effort roll. But he's able to he feels like he's able to sort of loosely picture a couple things from his past that is stretching the boundaries of his memory, but he also it's just 3. So we're just going to make those marks right there. So he sits there and thinks for a moment, maybe asks a couple questions from his dad, and is just like, man, I can't pick anything out of the past. And yeah, the question then is, how is he going to react to this? What's he going to do? He's going to get the lowdown, the summary of what happened, but he doesn't have the ability to remember Nick's or her life, to really appreciate anything about her going forward. She's already in the ground. She's already been buried. Because we decided that I think 2 scenes ago, that they have part of the gnomish culture is they bury people as soon as they can. And I think since sort of a loss of memory is sort of a fundamentally changing part of the personality that someone has, I think what we're going to do is resolve this by rolling on this NPC motivation and noun chart to see like sort of how he's gonna react, what sort of person he would be right now without all those memories. Um, and maybe not to use this as like a direct he has to do this, but to just sort of give us sort of an inspiration as far as to generate it. So we've got 19, which is going to be associate, new motivation of associate, associate, and then 19 again. That's interesting. Associate intelligence. Yeah, okay, so that makes sense. Associate intelligence. I'm not taking intelligence in sort of the literal interpretation here, but he's associating his mind. He's associating his memories. So what basically, and this makes sense really when you think about it, it's like his goal from here on is he wants to try to get his memories back somehow. We've already sort of set up a system for him to be able to do that. I think there's going to be some limit on how often he's going to be able to make these effort checks in order to fill up these hearts. I'm not just going to let him sit here and think real hard for a couple minutes, right, and get all his memories back. I think there needs to be some sort of significant events for him to be able to do such. And seeing his father, I think, is a significant enough event, because remember, he hadn't seen his father in a couple days since being before being knocked out. And so I think something like that, maybe every time he sees someone or something or some place from his past, he'll have or doing some sort of spell, some sort of interaction. I think he'll have the opportunity at those points in order to make these effort rolls in order to get some of his memory back. But yeah, with that, I think we've sort of figured out what happened to Wiggins when he woke up. I think we have sort of his personal mission going forward. He has all his stuff again. I think he's going to get briefed by his father about the fact that there might be these people hunting him. So I think they are actually... What Wiggins is going to start doing is he's going to head back towards his hometown. He'll probably touch base with this Alma lady because she's obviously the one who saved him, and that'll give him another chance here. But yeah, sort of an interesting, short but sweet scene here. We have Wiggins waking up, finding out that he has amnesia and doesn't remember anything that happened, and sort of giving him this little motivational quest in order to move on into the next chapter of his life, of his adventure, I guess. So yeah, that's going to end it here. Next scene, 25. What do I think? Is that chaos going to go up or down? I think chaos goes down, honestly. There wasn't really anything crazy that happened. I mean, amnesia is kind of wild, but that's not something that's too strange, I don't think. So we're going to go down to chaos 6. And yeah, the next scene, I think, what I plan to have for the expected next scene is Wiggins arriving at his hometown and the potential for the bounty hunters being there, or maybe there's additional wanted flags or something for him because his father took out that the bounty hunters that were chasing him. Actually, we'll see. I think we'll resolve at the beginning of the next scene whether or not we want to go directly to the town or whether we want to go square by square with the 60-12 system that we were using previously that led to the castle. But yeah, I think that'll be it, and we'll see you next time.